I wanted to get on last night and I wanted to talk to you about all of this in real time, like when it was happening. But I have learned that sometimes you just have to take a breath. And I just wanted to sit with it. I wanted to think it through. I wanted to sleep on it. And I wanted to bring this to you today with a clearer head. So after reading the headlines, after watching all the spin, hearing all the statements coming out of Capitol Hill, I feel exactly the same way that I felt last night. Democrats caved, and people should be furious. Now, please do not get me wrong. I understand the pressure that they were under. I really do understand the pressure. I'm not a heartless person, but yesterday, I have to tell you that I was traveling. My flight was delayed 3 hours before I even got on the plane. And then we sat on the runway for a long time after that. And in that time, making my way to the airport and spending time in the airport for so long, I got to speak with the people who keep this country moving. That's the TSA agents, that's the airport workers, the guys who show up day after day through all of this. Okay. I didn't pull out the camera because I was going through security and I didn't want to break any airport rules. But one young man told me that it has been rough. He said, man, fewer of us are showing up. People are tired, but somebody's got to do it. I mean, those were his words. The other man told me that he was about to miss his third paycheck. And he said it quietly, almost like he didn't want to hear it out loud. He didn't want himself to hear it out loud. He didn't want other people to hear it out loud. And at one point, I asked one of them if I could give him a tip just to say thank you. And he gave me that look like, man, I want to take it. Right. And he looked like he wanted to. But then he looked up at the security cameras and then he took a breath and he said, all the cameras in the TSA security are. And he said, man, nah, man, I just can't. Thanks, though. I wanted to hand him the money anyway, but I didn't want to risk his job. And that moment stuck with me because that's what this shutdown looked like. Proud, hardworking people doing their jobs while Washington played games. So, look, trust me, I understand why people were desperate for this to end. But that's what makes this even more frustrating for me. Because after 39 days, 40 days of chaos, after weeks of workers struggling, after poll showed the public was on their side, Senate Democrats just folded. I mean, let's just be honest. They just folded. They didn't just blink. They walked away from a fight that they were winning. They took the same deal, the very same deals that Republicans were offering before this whole thing even began, a short-term funding patch, a promise of a future vote on healthcare taxes, a future vote. There were no guarantees, no reforms, no real protection for the families who are hanging by a thread right now. So I'm asking the same question a lot of Americans are asking today. What was all of this for? What was it for? Meanwhile, the country is hurting while federal workers were lining up at food banks. Donald Trump was living like none of it even existed, like it wasn't even happening. He expanded the ballroom, right, at the White House. And then he was at Mar-a-Lago throwing a Great Gatsby themed party while federal workers were going unpaid. And then last night, while the shutdown was still technically in effect, he shows up at the Washington Commanders game. His jet, like the Air Force One, flies low over the stadium, and he waves and smiles, and he eats it up, and he soaks it all in. And by the way, your tax money is paying for all of that, for the fuel wasted. It is a show, always a show. And the people paying for it are the same ones that he ignored. That's what people are tired of. They're tired of watching him perform power while pretending to care about struggle. They're tired of watching Democrats try to look responsible while Republicans play kingmaker. Because here is the absolute 100% truth. You cannot beat a man who governs by chaos with people who are terrified of confrontation, terrified of optics. Democrats, you had the leverage. You had the American people behind you. You had the moral high ground. The polls showed it. The election results showed it. Voters were rejecting Trumpism. I mean, just after state, county after county, municipality after municipality. They were rejecting Trumpism, rejecting cruelty, rejecting the noise. And then when they had the chance to turn that momentum into power, the Democrats, they walked away from the table. holding most of the cards. They said, let's reopen the government now and deal with the rest later. What? But later never comes, not in politics, not when you're dealing with someone like Donald Trump. This man has made a career out of promising that he's going to deal with it later. Remember, give me 2 weeks, give me 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, everything, right? Remember that? Ask the contractors who built his casinos, ask the students from Trump University, ask the American people. Later is how he always gets away with everything. And then he stirs something else up. The media focuses on it and then forgets about the other thing. And now Democrats, they just played into that same pattern. You can't win if you're afraid to use your leverage. That's what negotiation is. It's not cruelty, it's conviction. You've got to be convicted. You've got to stand strong and you have to have a backbone. Sometimes you have to endure short term pain to protect people from long term damage. And let's be real. That is the same thing that Donald Trump has been preaching to his supporters now since he's been in office and with all of these tariffs. That's what he said about the tariffs. Short-term pain for long-term gain. He told people to trust him, to hold out while jobs disappeared, while wages fell, while prices went up, while factories closed. He said it was all part of some grand master plan that he had. He had no plan. It wasn't part of the plan. He didn't know what he was doing. And now Democrats couldn't even do the one thing that he's been selling to his base: hold out with purpose. They had the chance to say, we're not reopening this government until healthcare is secure, until people are protected, until we get guarantees in writing. They weren't able to do that. Instead, they blinked. And the people who are paying the price are the same ones that I met at the airport yesterday, that I meet on the streets when I talk to people. I'm out there all the time. You know, I do it. The man missing 3 paychecks, he said, no, man, I can't take it. Those are the people who hold the line every day and they just watch their leaders drop it. It's disheartening because this wasn't just about a shutdown. It was about about showing the American people, showing the country what leadership looks like. It was about proving that empathy doesn't mean weakness, that you can care about people and still fight for them. You can care about people and still fight for them. But instead, Democrats gave people the same Washington story that they have been hearing for decades. Well, we tried our best, but politics got in the way. No, politics didn't get in the way. Fear did. And some other things. I don't know if it was donors. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but fear did. And I say that not to tear them down, but because I want better for them. I want better for us. And Democrats are the only ones on the side of democracy right now. Democrats, please start standing up and oh my God. Because leadership isn't about avoiding pain, it's about giving it purpose. If those healthcare credits expire, people's costs go up, families lose coverage, some will die because they can't afford care. That's not politics, that is real life. That's the truth. And it's exactly what this deal failed to protect. So yes, the government is reopening right now. Workers are going to get paid. Flights will be back on schedule, but the damage, the moral damage is still there. Because this isn't just about getting back to work. This is about what kind of country we want to be. Are we a country that rewards showmanship and cowardice, or one that stands firm when it is hard? Because I'm going to tell you this, those workers at the airport, they stood firm. They showed up, they did their jobs, even when they weren't getting paid. And their leaders, the ones who said that they were fighting for them, didn't. So today, okay, I'm not clapping for compromise. I'm calling for courage right now. Because if you can't stand strong when the people are with you, when the polls, the power, and the moral authority are all on your side, then what are you even doing there? Why are you even there? Democrats don't like to hear it. I've heard it from them last night and today. Stop saying we caved. No, you caved. Democrats caved. And people should be furious Because this wasn't just about reopening the government, it was about reopening the question of who still has the backbone to lead. And right now, that answer isn't nearly as clear as it should be. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.